Derek Spallone. Glad to be alongside one of the newest members of the Chicago Bears, wide receiver, Allen Robinson. Allen, first off, welcome to Chicago, man. How you feeling today, man?
Feeling good, man. Glad to be here. It's so exciting with all the energy, around just, being the start of baseball season, football coming along. So there's a lot of energy in the city.
Yeah, just first and foremost, man, here at Gurnee for the Dick's Sporting Goods grand opening here, man. And believe it or not, fans lined up early in the morning just to have the opportunity to come out and meet you a little bit later. So if that's not love, I don't know what is, man. But
it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Being in a new city, being able to connect to some new fans and things like that is always exciting.
Yeah.
For us, we know that's a big thing for us. It's a fan base. It's a great sports fan base, here in Chicago.
So what was some of the coolest memorabilia pieces that you signed thus far? Anything that stood out to you?
I saw some pretty unique stuff. I saw a photo from the year I was top 100.
Okay.
Some sunglasses. Some different things. So it's always pretty cool to be in an environment like this. Because again, you get to sign some pretty unique and cool things, and a lot of Bears vintage stuff, which is pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure you'll see a lot of that too as the season progresses. Was it just unique though, interacting with some of these fans, seeing how passionate they are about the Bears, and in particular some new Allen Robinson fans too?
Definitely. Again, which is pretty dope. When I first walked into the store, it was one of my first time, actually seeing my jersey in those colors, for sale. So things like that is just surreal. You get used to, seeing your name and number and stuff attached to the same color, for so many years. And then for me to see that for the first time, it was pretty cool.
You just kind of step back for a second, just kind of soak that in. That's neat, man. And I know aside from this event, you're very active in giving back to the community. Your foundation in Jacksonville, you worked a lot with the youth, and I'm sure you'll continue your philanthropy efforts here in Chicago.
No, definitely. Again, that's something that's in transition right now. So we'll be looking to kick that off in the fall and in the winter. We do a couple events a year. We do a back to school event. We do a Christmas event. We do a couple fundraisers as well. So that's big. Wherever you are as a athlete. So I'm excited to get that rolling here in Chicago.
Yeah. Does it ever just kind of hit you too, though, how much of an impact you've had on the lives of the youth, not only with your play on the field, but more importantly through your actions off the field?
Yeah, it does. And again, I think that's more exciting. Sometimes you sit back and think about it. Catching passes on Sundays. It's fun and it's such a unique opportunity. But being in such a unique position to be able to help the youth and give back to the youth and really impact the youth in many different ways. Through sports, through education, and through things like that. It's always exciting.
And as someone growing up who had a dream of being a professional athlete and achieve that goal, what is your message to the youth when it comes down to setting goals, taking the steps towards achieving their goals?
Yeah, it's something that it's funny because I talk to my parents about this a lot. It's something that's tough. So at the end of the day, a lot of people say a lot of different things and set a lot of different goals for themselves. But some goals that you set for yourself, from the time you're a kid to growing up, is that you have to want to put in the work, to achieve that goal, to whatever it is. If it's catching passes on Sunday, playing basketball, becoming a doctor or a lawyer, it's times where things are going to get tough, but at the same time, you got to work just as hard to achieve that goal. It's a lot easier just saying something that you want to accomplish.
Do you think starting young and building those foundations early kind of makes it, I don't want to say easier later on, because that definitely gets harder, but it gets implemented?
For me, this is something sports-wise, it's something that I did since I was 5 years old. So for me, I always was structured and things like that. So I had gained a work ethic as far as especially in sports. I gained a work ethic for 5-6 years old. When it's long practices and things like that, and I'm only 5 and 6. And I look back to those days, and it's like, wow, that's what I was prepared for. So it's something that I've been groomed for a long time now.
I want to go back to where it all started for you growing up in Detroit. How did that mold you into the person and athlete that you are today?
I think a lot. Growing up in Detroit, it's a lot of different ways, that you can go, and that you can, and as you get older, you see certain things as far as people you grew up with. You see a lot of people start to go off and branch off in their certain ways. So for me, being tied to sports and being so passionate about it, it was a driving factor for me, through my entire life. It's been something that has driven me again since I can remember, which is about 5 to 6 years old.
Right. What would you say when you reflect back on your journey at the age of 24 now? What would you say has been the biggest life lesson you've learned through your respective experiences, whether on or off the field, up to this point?
The biggest thing that I've learned is to have patience. One, and two, just trust the process. I think that's pretty. I think some people may look at that being pretty cliche, but even for me, like going through certain things in my life and things like that, it's like you gotta trust yourself. You gotta trust your work ethic. You gotta trust what you have, everything that you put into it to that point. You can never waver between if what you're doing is working. You know, you got to trust that. You got to continue to push, and then at the end of the day, you'll see the results you want.
Yeah, having faith and continuing to work. Do you think having a mentor early on for you kind of helped steer you in that direction? Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah. I've been fortunate enough to have some very great influences in my life, you know, to get me to this process of where I'm at right now, you know, and even now, you know, like last year I trained with Randy Moss, you know, so being able to kind of talk to him and pick his brain through some things like that, you know, for me, it's been such a great and unique and blessed experience, you know, in my life. You know, again, I've been blessed with some of the best coaches, you know, to ever do what they do on every level, from Little League to high school to college to in the NFL. You know, I've been blessed.
When you receive praise from a guy like Randy Moss, does it kind of sink in a little bit more because of his, you know, his pedigree and his ability, right?
Definitely, you know, and even then, you know, sometimes those are the type of moments where you really just kind of sit back and reflect on,
like, wow,
everything is going so fast, and you know, it's always, you know, what's next. As far as, you know, if you make a great play, you know, it's the next play. If you score a touchdown, it's the next touchdown. If you have a good game, it's the next game. You know, but having things like that really kind of keeps you in that moment for you just to reflect and sit back and be like, wow.
Yeah, and we'll transition a little bit into the football side, man. I know it's an exciting season coming up. It's been a long time since the Bears organization has had a player such as yourself with your pedigree and, you know, your potential. But just how excited are you to get on the field with that young potential field offense?
I'm excited.
Work with Mitch.
I'm excited. You know, being out there with Coach Nagy and Mitch and some of the rest of the guys, well, it's exciting. It's an exciting time for us. You know, we got a lot of talent. You know, so as far as we just continue to work and continue to be as good as we know we can be, you know, the sky's the limit for us.
Is there a guy that you've seen so far you're like, wow? You know, like you walked in like one of your fellow receivers where you're like, oh man, it's gonna be fun when we.
I mean, watching all those guys, you know, K. White, Josh Bellamy, you know, Taylor Gabriel, Benny Fowler,
Anthony Miller,
Tariq, you know, watching those guys, you know, it's like wow, you know, we got a lot of athleticism on the offense. Again, you know, as long as we stay on the details, so what coaches dialing up and things like that, you know, the sky's the limit for us.
And have you kind of seen where you've taken it upon yourself a little bit in a leadership role? I know can't quite get on the field yet, but in the film room and going through, you know, meetings and et cetera.
You know, again, it's a learning process for us all. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, I try to share my experiences, you know, with some of the guys, you know, just in general. You know, again, and even for me, you know, I try to treat my mind like a sponge anyway, you know, so I'm taking a lot from a lot of other guys as well, you know, but I try to give up as much knowledge and stuff of the game and my experience as possible.
Perfect, man. And before we let you go, aside from football and everything, what's one thing about Allen Robinson that not many people know that you can share with us, maybe a special hobby or interest aside from the game?
Man, that's tough.
Yeah, I know. Got to dive in a little bit, but I know you got the Blackhawks jersey, man. You obviously love sports, fellow sports, right?
Yeah, that's kind of, I think
that's just up there.
I'm a big sports fan, all sports.
Yeah.
Baseball, hockey, basketball, you know, I mean, I'm a big sports fan, but, you know.
So we got to challenge you a little bit to find something a little bit different.
I guess it's pretty unique. I want to get back to it, but when I was younger, I used to be able to play the piano a little bit. I haven't done it in so long, you know, so I'm trying to get back to that, you know, at some point in time.
Right. Yeah, when the time comes. But that takes some technique too, though. That takes some time too. Yeah.
It takes some time.
Yeah, especially to get all the notes right and everything like that. And for Chicago-wise, no, out here, everybody's probably asked you, deep dish pizza. Have you got your chance yet, or have you? Not okay.
Look,
he doesn't have to bash you, but we just gotta know if you got out there.
Pizza guy. Till I die. Like, everybody knows that. So I mean, I'm still taking some offers to some pizza spots. I can't remember the name of them. I've had a couple good spots, you know, but I mean, nothing yet has topped Jets. I mean, I'm biased, so I don't know if anything will, but I'm still taking.
So you've been to Lou's and Giordano's?
I haven't.
Okay, so yeah, we got to get Lou Malnati, Giordano, Chicago-based. She'll take care of you. Make sure you get out there. But Jets is solid, man. They got that cross rolling for sure, man. So, hey, man. Well, Derek Spallone, Allen Robinson, appreciate your time, man. Thank you, man.
No problem.
Thanks.